Hey, it's Mike with USCCA. I want to talk about vehicles and using them as cover. We've done videos in the past where we've done front ambush, right? Bailing out of the cars, using them as cover if you get attacked. But just think about this from a day-to-day basis. You're sitting, walking around the streets, and there are parked cars everywhere you go. Parking lots, on the streets, underground parking garages, even on the freeway when you're driving and stuck in traffic. There are cars literally everywhere. How much do you know about using vehicles as cover? So I'm gonna go over a lot of the different points of cars and talk about the stronghold positions and what is cover versus what is concealment. Let's first check it out. Most standard cars are SUV type vehicles nowadays. You know, there's compacts, there's trucks, but a lot of them are just like this, right? We have a third row for our kids, and we have, you know, 4 doors, and we have 4 wheels. This is pretty much your everyday American vehicle. So first, let's actually talk about some of the myths or the things we've seen in movies that don't work, right? Number one, our doors. Every movie you've seen from the 80s, 90s, and maybe even some from today, you see a police officer jump out of his car and he's taking shots from here and he's using this door as cover. Well, in some departments and some agencies, they do have ballistic panels. You do not. Your Kia, your Toyota, your Dodge does not have armor in it. These things are like Swiss cheese. This is actually the last place you want to be sitting, is using this as cover. One, all of your vitals are to a piece of glass. And two, you know, the rest of your vitals, it's just tin, and bullets, even 22 caliber rounds, go right through these doors. So that's something you always want to avoid. What's another place you want to avoid? Well, being inside the car. We have a lot of videos where we teach shooting from the car, shooting out of the glass. I want you to keep in mind, those are purely for ambush tactics. If you're getting shot at, you want to bail out, but sometimes you just have to return fire. Maybe there's somebody right in front of you and you have to shoot back. We are not teaching or ever even like implying that we want you to stay seated in this vehicle. You got to get out. So shooting from anywhere in the car, it's like, imagine being in a glass bowl and you're in a gunfight. That's exactly what it's like shooting from a car. Rounds come in. Not only does the round come in, but shards of metal and glass come in as well. It's just the worst place you could possibly be. So we don't want to be inside the car, and we don't want to be behind doors. That also goes for the hoods, the roofs of the car, and then in the boot, that back door that comes up, that's not a place you want to be either. So where do we want to be? Where do we want to be? Well, there's a few places that are notoriously strong. The pillars, right? Our front, our 1 or A, our 2 or B, and our 3 or C. And sometimes you might have more and more depending. Those pillars are designed for rollovers, and that's a really great place for structural integrity. So they're made out of hardened steel. So you can even tap and find out that thin echo that you get, or that thick hardened steel aluminum. That's a place that's going to stop a bullet. And so we've put emphasis on hiding behind these pieces. But if you look at it, it's also not a great place to stand, because this is about 4 inches wide and I am not. This is at a crazy angle and I am not. These are not places that I necessarily want to just stand because Mike told me on a video that they're hardened pieces of steel. They are. It's better than nothing. I wouldn't want to stand right here and shoot through the glass or above. Maybe I would stand here, but if this is only about 4 inches, it's not great. It's not great. So what is great? What is great? Well, the 2 best places I could describe right now are here and here. These 2 places, your front tire, your rear tire. These are places you can actually call cover. Every other place is concealment cover mix. Bullets get deflected, bullets may even stop, but it's not a full shield. This is a full shield of cover. If I stand behind this wheel, there's steel that's in the rubber, steel belts. There's steel with the brakes, the rotors, and the hubs themselves. And then we have this giant engine that's made of all kinds of hard cast iron. There's steel, there's parts, and it goes from side to side. This is a really, really great place to be. Primary number 1. You may not always get that. So what's the next best? Well, in the back, we have something very similar. The rear of the car, though, there's a few differences. One, we're sitting near typically near a gas tank. Maybe not the best place to be if it gets hit with a round. But I do have the entire front set and rear set that are the same. So I have a wheel, I have rotors, I have brakes, and I have the steel belts of the tires, okay? And I also have the same set on the other side. So these are great places I want to stay. If I was taking an ambush from the side, or if I was in a gunfight walking down the street, I could immediately go to the side of a vehicle and I could cover down here and make my family like behind the tires, and I could protect them while I had to go, you know, handle business and take care of the situation. They could sit here and use this as cover. Another thing you want to think about is even if I was using the center, rounds skip. So rounds getting shot into the ground will actually skip and go across the concrete and take out people's legs. So anywhere in this space here isn't great. It's not great. So where would I put my family? I'd put them right here, or I'd put them right here if the threat was on the other side. Have them crouched down and you can go take care of business. If the threat to the vehicle was coming from a different position, let's say the front or the back or at an angle, I could also get behind the rear pillar. This is something that's also going to be structurally sound, very, very tough metal to prevent the rollovers. And I've got a little bit of the wheel here. I have the angle where I can get behind cover. It's a mix of cover and concealment. Remember, rounds go through glass. So even if you can see the enemy can see you. And so even though this isn't my favorite place, this is something where I can take up concealment. And as long as I have a good offset, if there are rounds that come in, the rounds hit and they will skip off. They will skip off. In the glass, not so much, but they can depending on the angle. You have to remember rounds skip. Rounds skip off of everything. Rounds skip off of water, off of drywall. Rounds skip off of every surface you can think of in just varying angles. So if a round were to hit here, while it could penetrate depending on the angle, if the angle is coming at you and it hits, it's probably a safe bet that it's going to deflect this way. So tactic part 2 is I don't want to be right here on the car. I don't want to be past the car. I don't want to be right up on the car. I actually want to be at least an arm's length back. At least an arm's length back. Because if I'm an arm's length back, I can lean out and take my shots. And unless there was a direct impact on me, if it hit anywhere inside here, it's going to hit and it's probably going to skip off in a safer or safe direction. But when I'm at the back or the front of the car, the biggest concerns I'm always going to have are underneath the vehicle and the glass itself. The glass itself is something that doesn't stop really a whole lot, and shooting through it, if I shoot through this and shoot through the front, it's always going to deflect my rounds. It's not advantageous. The closer I am to the car, the more I'm going to have to worry about rounds deflecting into me. The further the threat is away from the car, the worse my shots are going to be going through windows to hit that person, so I don't recommend that either. Moving to the front of the car, if I was at the front of the vehicle, I've got this nice engine block. This is great. I've got the tires on either end and I can duck. It is quite low though. And a big problem when barricades are low, most people I see in training or in real world, to get low, they typically duck their heads like this. They do their reloads with their heads down and everything's low like this. But the problem is situational awareness dictates that my head is up and my eyes are up. So how do we find that right balance? Well, a great position to be in is either a knee where I'm angled down, where my head can stay up, my eyes can stay up, or simply seated and I have the whole situational awareness, all the threats right in front of me. I can pivot from left to right. I can roll out and take my shots, and I have everything that I need to here. I don't have to have my head down. I can focus on everything I need to. To get up, once again, I can just get up and continue my moving. But rather than taking a knee, something to think about is maybe taking a seat and looking around. As always, you do have to be worried about rounds skipping because that's never going to go away unless you were behind maybe the tire and the hub. That would add that little bit of protection. Last thing I want to say about the hood is I see shooting schools, I see in movies, I see in a lot of different videos on the internet that people are using the hood and they use that hood to rest on and take their shots. I even see examples where people will take their rifle, they'll turn it sideways, and they'll shoot like this to stay extra low. It's all with good intent, so you can't say anything's wrong, but I will tell you, rounds skip so well off of hoods. In fact, most angles when you shoot at a hood, the rounds will still skip. Maybe shooting from like a 45, that's when you start seeing the rounds go inside the hood. But up to about that 45-degree angle, depending on the bullet, depending on a whole lot of circumstances, rounds hit and then they skip off. And if you are in fact laying down on the hood at any degree, head, full head, doesn't matter, those rounds are gonna skip right in your face. And that's not something you want. You don't wanna get shot in the face. Rule number one in a gunfight is probably don't get shot in the face. So what do? You create distance, you create space. At a minimum always is that arm's length. We've tested where we put steel plates at varying distances here. And you can watch in some of the other videos we've put out. We'll put the steel plates, and at varying angles and varying distances, it's always hitting this plate to about 1 arm's length or more back from the car. Now, when I'm about a head height shooting, the rounds skip just over the head. So if you can imagine, if you're using this as cover, it's one thing if you're hiding, but if you're actually using it as cover to pop up and fight, you really need some space to allow any misses that people have to hit and come over your head. Otherwise, it's just extra rounds that are gonna be coming right at you and you're probably gonna lose that fight. Lastly, while we're still talking about tactics, if you are using tactics of a barricade, you're using any kind of piece of cover of a vehicle or any barricade really, you always want to think about not popping up in the same place consecutively. So for instance, if I pop out here and I take some shots and I go back in, now the threat is fixated on me popping out of this point and their eyes are trained to this point. If I pop out again, chances are the gun is still trained on me and it's gonna be really, really bad for me. Once again, rule number one, don't get shot in the face. So what do? We pop out here and we take shots. Maybe the next time we slide under, we get low and we pop up from here, or we use the other side of the car, or we shoot through the windows. Any number of positions you can be in other than the one that you just popped out in. That's a lesson that's been learned in blood for the last like so many years of war. Warfighters go overseas and we find out these tactics work and don't work. That is one that we have learned in blood. Do not pop out in the same place consecutively. Just remember, there's vehicles everywhere you go. What does that mean? That means you have to know how to employ those vehicles, employ those barricades for your tactics. So I highly recommend you get out to the range and you train it. Buy a junker car, use your own car, just be really, really careful. But you need to practice firing from those positions, firing from that cover. It can be as simple as using a piece of plywood, but make sure you get out and train it. Training is super important. That's how we move forward and that's how we progress.